In this video, we're going to add 2 more assessment types. So right now we have 6 of them, and we're going to increase it to 8. So what we're going to do is, the first thing is we need to insert more assessment type columns. We could add them over here, but that could cause problems because Excel is not very good at figuring out what's left and what's right. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert the column 1 over. So I'll hit insert, and then I'll hit insert again. So now we have 2 more columns, but they don't have any formulas in them yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy the formulas over here into these columns. On a Mac, it's Control C or Command C, and on a Mac, it's Control V C. And so Command V or Control V, and we'll add those in. Okay, we can make sure that they filled, so you want to make sure they filled all the way down. If we double click on the cell, we can see that it did capture all the range, and it goes all the way over the end of the table, so that's a good sign. I'll hit escape to get out of the cell. We can name whatever the things whatever we like, more types, and more types 2, more types 2, great. Alright, so now we have those labeled. Remember that you'll want to say how much each type is worth, so maybe 10 and 10. You should have them end up adding to 100. If they don't, that's a problem. So now these add up correctly. Yeah, we can check that it's working, so if I go to here, I can sure enough select more types or more types 2. And that shows up there, and it goes into the running average, so that's all good. If you try to look at this, you may not know what it is. It says percentage breakdown cells, and this is searching between homeworks and another type 2, so this is definitely reaching over the percentage breakdown cells that are all of these. You can tell because if I select this, this is a named range for which it's percent breakdown cells, so that works. Let's try to get the graphs to appear up here. So for example, you can see that on these we have little graphs and here we don't. And the reason why is if we unhide, so I select 5 to 11, right click and hit unhide, what you can see is that there's no formulas here. This does not instantly get copied over. Now it's there, now these appear in our spark lines. So that's good. So if you have Excel greater than 2007, like 10 or beyond, you're going to have your spark lines. So I'm going to hide these again. Now we have our spark lines. So now everything's set mathematically in terms of grading, and it will work just fine. But if we want to give the printouts, we want to make the printouts work, we need to go and modify just a few things. So I went to the printouts tab, and what you notice is we have the original assessment types, and then here's the more types 2 and another type 2. And so it hasn't quite filled this in. So again, we don't want to insert a row right here. We're going to insert it one above. We'll hit insert and insert. One tricky thing is that this is a merged column, so when we drag down, it's not going to be very happy. So I'm just going to unmerge these for a second. Unmerge cells, and that will make it so it drags down nicely. If I select all the way over, I'm going to go to the very end, the students, and I will drag down. I just need to drag down 2. It's going to drag those down. You notice it doesn't really have any information in it. The reason why is I also have to make sure that the 16 goes all the way down, and then 19, this should be 20. These numbers are an offset, so that this uses what's called essentially offset, that it looks from cell A1 on this sheet, which is over here, and then moves however many one way and however many down. And so that's why we just have to modify that one number. And now everything should be set. So let's just make sure it's going to print correctly. So I'm hitting File, and then I'll go to Print, and I can preview what this looks like. And sure enough, that looks good. And I have all the students.